Good evening. This is September 13th, 2021. This is the Board of Trustees meeting agenda. At this time, we're going to do our closed session at 4 o'clock. We are at the Bob Burton Performing Arts Center at Fallbrook Union High School at 2400 South Stagecoach Lane in Fallbrook, California. These are the agenda items. Public employee discipline, dismissal, and release. Government Code Section 54957. Then there will be the conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation. Government Code Section 54956.9D1. Claim number 2005478. This item will be discussed in closed session at the end of the regular meeting. Conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9. Then we, parentheses, D2. Student discipline reinstatement, case number 07F 1920. Then we'll have a conference with labor negotiations, Government Code Section 54957.6. District negotiator is Elsa Garza Gonzalez, our superintendent. Employee organizations, FHSTA and SEIU, Local 221. Unrepresented employees, classified management, certified management, and confidential employees. Opportunity for members of the public to address the board on any item described in this agenda for the closed session. Opportunity to be granted later for open session items. This is under Government Code Section 54954.3. At this time, we have nobody addressing us. We will adjourn to closed session. Hello, Fallbrook. Today is September 13, 2021, and this is the board meeting for the Fallbrook Union High School Board. This evening, we remind all attendees that while present at this meeting, they must act in a civil and professional manner, and disruption of any cause may have me call a recess or adjourn the meeting. Please know that everyone at this dais cares about the students and staff of all three of our high schools in this community. Fallbrook is known as the Friendly Village. Let's show it tonight. With that being said, I will ask the president of Fallbrook Future Farmers of America, Damon Gallegos, to lead us in the flag salute.
Ready? We're facing towards the front of this. Show us the flag. It shouldn't be outside. It should be in this room. Yeah, where is it? Can we get it? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Diane Summers, president, I'm here. Eddie Jones, vice president, he's absent tonight. Ilana Sterling, clerk, here. Thank you. Oscar Caralampio.
Here.
Thank you. And Lita Tapp, present. Thank you. Superintendent. Present. What is that? Oh, okay. Then we have our students tonight for the first time. First one is Damon Gallegos, right over here.
Here.
Yes, thank you. And Savannah Hometh. Thank
yes,
you.
Here.
Huh?
Here.
Here, okay, good. So we're very excited to have the students here tonight. All open session and the Board of Trustees are recorded and streamed in real time at www.fuhsd.net. Informal review of the governing team's norms. The Board of Trustees approved norms are that we be respectful, be approachable, be open-minded, be communicative, no surprises, be willing to listen, be prepared, and to be trustworthy. So now I'll give a report from the closed session. There's 5 things. The first one is public employment, discipline, dismissal, and release. This is Government Code Section 54957. There is nothing to report. On B, conference with legal counsel pending litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9D1, claim number 20-05478. This item will be discussed in closed session after the regular board meeting. So the next one, letter C, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuit of Government Code Section 54956.9 in D2. And for that one, we have nothing to report. On D, student discipline reinstatement for case number 07F1920. This one passed 4-0. Then we have conference with labor negotiations, Government Code Section 54957.6, and that is under District Negotiator Ilsa Garza Gonzalez, our Superintendent, and Employee Organizations FHSTA and SEIU, Local 221, unrepresented employees, classified management, certified management, and confidential employees. And this one we have nothing to report. All right, that brings us to adopting the agenda. So I need to know if there's any additions, deletions, or corrections.
There is a correction under agenda item A3. It should read, the revisions and deletions to board policies, administrative regulations, and exhibits are being presented as an action item for a second reading and will return as an action item at the next board meeting.
Okay. Anything else? So, that being said, I need a motion, please.
On 13. I second.
All right, so that's Tavish and Sterling. So we're going to start out with our students. This is your first time to vote. And Mr. Gallegos, how do you vote for the agenda?
Aye.
Thank you. And Ms. Hometh?
Yes.
Okay, you vote, pretty much you say aye.
Oh, aye, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. And so our board members, Trustee Caralampio, how do you vote for the agenda?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Jones is absent. Ms. Sterling?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm Ms. Summers. I vote aye. And Ms. Tavish?
Aye.
Thank you. So the agenda passes 4-0. So now we're going to introduce our new student board representatives. Okay, who wants to go first? Mr. Gallegos?
I'm actually introducing them.
Huh?
I'm introducing.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So I'd like to introduce our new student board members for the 21-22 school year. Damon Gallegos, senior at Fallbrook High School, will be representing Fallbrook High School. And Savannah Hometh, senior at Oasis High School, will be representing Oasis High School for the first semester, and we will have a representative from Ivy High School for second semester. Both students have gone through a very brief introduction and training with me last week. I'm very excited to have them on board. I know that they're going to excel in their new positions.
At this time, we usually have the students give a little report. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was just the introduction. Sorry about that. All right, so now we have recognition, FFA student, and for students, and for that we will have our teacher, Doug Seenert.
Good evening, Fallbrook High School Board. Good evening to the public. And myself, Doug Sainert, Margaret Chapman. We're both two of the three agriculture teachers here at Fallbrook High School. And we are pleased to bring before you tonight this group of students so that they can be recognized for their accomplishments at the recent, even though I guess it ended, in June, our 2021 San Diego County Fair. First of all, I'm sure that these students here will agree with me that they very much appreciated the opportunity to things get kind of back to normal for them to be able to show their livestock and be involved and go through all the competitions that it takes leading up to showing their livestock. The San Diego County Fair for these guys really is I'd compare it, it's kind of like the league games and CIF playoffs and CIF championships all rolled into a few days for them to be able to put themselves in competition and see where they wind out. And we do this along with 14 other FFA chapters around San Diego County. And this year, like many things, the numbers were down, but it still doesn't take away from the hard work and accomplishments that these young men and women did and represent Fallbrook High School in our community. So first, let me start off with here. There we go. So there's a picture there of our beef exhibitors from this last year. We had 11 students. I don't think they all made it there for the picture, but we had 11 students show and exhibit their beef enterprises throughout the year, leading up here to San Diego County Fair. And not only is it a long time commitment, so they probably started October, November, but it's also a big financial investment upon them and their family as well too. And so we had 11 participate and do it, and their accomplishments, Katie Ewig, where's Katie? Right here. Katie was second in her class, or actually I'm talking back. Katie won class 2 with her lightweight steer. Mallory Sainert, here to my right. Good job, Katie. Mallory Sainert was class 6 winner, and that's kind of getting more up to like the heavyweights. And so I think her steer weighed close to, was it 1,400 pounds? Okay. And then Jacob Brown is a graduate. Thank you. Jacob Brown is not with us this evening. He was a graduate last year. He was a class 7 winner, and his steer, I believe, was approaching about 1,500 pounds. And so a lot of hard work and time goes into those guys, and their work and accomplishments were evident as far as in their placement. Did Landon make it in the room? I don't believe so. Landon Kreitz is a new student to our program, and because the school year ends before the fair begins, we're able to take those incoming ninth graders and they can participate and exhibit with the FFA at the fair. And so Landon Kreitz is this year he's a freshman to our program. In showmanship, he was 4th place. Maury Sainert was 6th place, and Jacob Brown was 7th place. And so we're very proud of those and their accomplishments there. And just to kind of come back and give a explanation of those, the class winners, those animals are based strictly as far as their merit, as far as carcass. And in the showmanship classes, it's the students presenting their animals, working with their animals, exhibiting their animals, as well as their appearance. And so we are quite pleased to have 3 in the top 10 with regards to that. Lastly, our market beef won the champion pin of 3. In that case there, we pick our 3 most uniform beef enterprises that pick together, and those kids go out and compete against the other chapters. And Fallbrook was very pleased to bring home the championship for their pin of 3. Good job, beef kids. And you can see a lot of these guys are coming right from their athletic practices, and so I just told them to show up and be here tonight. Next, I'm going to move here to market lambs. And so I'm really pleased here, and this is a big accomplishment here for Taylor Mashaki. Taylor Mashaki was the FFA champion market lamb for the fair, and then we take the FFA champion lamb and we put them with the 4-H champion as well as the Grange champion. And those 3 all go together, and Taylor was very honored, pleased to basically she's the 2nd place lamb over all the lambs that was exhibited at the fair for the market class. And so Taylor, good job there. There's her picture and her banner. And I'm going to let her introduce herself here a little bit, and she'll show you her banner. And I want to also bring to attention that that lamb was bred and lambed right here in Fallbrook community. And so kind of a homegrown champion there for her, and so she did a great job. As well, Taylor was the grand champion overall market showman. And so she took 1st and 2nd place overall, and so we're quite proud of her as far as doing well in the market class, the weight class, as well as in the showmanship. And then as a group, Fallbrook FFA, along with Taylor and 2 of our other exhibitors, was a champion pin of 3 for all the market lambs. And so once again, Taylor and the rest of those kids, good job and congratulations there. Next is Cassidy Bollinger. Cassidy's over here to my left. Cassidy, and I'm really proud here as far as from Cassidy, because this is truly a homegrown campus champion here. Throughout the year, Cassidy helps me take care of the goats. She cares for them, feeds them, manages them. She helped with the kidding of that particular goat. And then she chose that goat, and overall was the FFA champion goat. And then when she went against the other 3 champions, was honored with the reserve grand champion market goat, as well as winning its class. And then she showed a 2nd goat as well too here that was kidded here at Fallbrook, and it won its class as well in class number 3. And so Cassidy, great job there. In addition, the exhibitors in the market goats was 2nd place in the pin of 3. And Cassidy was 5th place in her FFA goat advanced showmanship. Then lastly, we're going to talk about, let me see, what else have I got? So there's our market. We had 4 market goat showmen. And then here is our exhibitors as far as for market swine. For the market swine classes, we had 1 class winner, Delana Sainer, who was a graduate, was a class 2 winner. She was 4th place in the FFA advanced showmanship. Katie here to my right was 8th place in the FFA advanced showmanship. And Jordan over here to the left was 10th place in the FA Advanced Showmanship. So we had 3, once again, in the top 10 there as far as for the showmanship. And so I appreciate the opportunity to come and recognize these students for their hard work, their investment, the time as far as the support that they also have their family. And to kind of close things up here, I asked them all to kind of introduce themselves, to let you know or tell you as far as what class they're enrolled in here at Fallbrook High School. And then too, all these students are not involved only in the FFA, but campus-wide as well too. As you know, Damon's a good example there. He is our chapter president and representing Fallbrook High School as the student member on the board. And so very involved students, are very hardworking, and I'm pleased for their achievements here. Did you have anything to add, Ms. Chapman? Okay, who's going to go first? All right.
Good evening. My name is Mallory Sainer. I'm a junior this year. I am taking the advanced agriculture mechanics first period with my dad as a teacher. Not only am I'm also the Fallbrook chapter parliamentarian, and I am also involved in varsity field hockey, and I'm the 11th grade class president for NCL San Luis chapter, which is National Charity League. Hi, my name is Cassidy Bollinger. I'm a senior this year. I was last year's chapter secretary and this year's chapter sentinel. I'm on judging teams, public speaking teams. I coach for the Fallbrook Youth Soccer League, and this is going to be my 4th year on varsity soccer.
Hi everyone, my name's Taylor. I just wanted to say thank you for recognizing us and learning more about our chapter. I am a junior this year, and I am on our Fallbrook High School dance team, and I have been a part of Fallbrook FFA for 3 years, and I also help the new lamb exhibitors and help teach them and learn more about sheep. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jordan Rayburn. I'm a junior this year, and this year I'm taking ag mechanics with my uncle, Mr. Sainert. I plan on joining the opening and closing team for FFA this year, and I play baseball.
Hi, my name is Katie Ewig. I'm in Mr. Sainert's first period ag mechanics. I'm a senior. I'm involved in varsity cheer, varsity swim and dive, and I'm in ASB. I'm in NCL. This is my last year, and I am the vice president. That's all.
We're so proud of our farm. Okay, that brings us to, we have a presentation from our architects and 400 modernization project. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Prince. I am the architect and managing principal for Renovate Clark, and I get the distinct pleasure to show you your new CTE project. All right, we started out this process working with the staff. We've actually interviewed with the teachers and started walking through how they actually are using the programs, and kind of also started going through a site analysis where we start to look at some paths, we look at that existing creek, which we will talk a little bit more, and how the circulation works on the site. As we started developing the program, which you'll see here in green, if I can get it to work here, yeah, there we go. What we did find is that the existing site, to no one's surprise, is actually on a floodplain, and so we've had to kind of adjust some of the scope and work things around, but we've actually worked things out where now the scope is, we have the new CTE complex, which is the first scope is increment 1, which is the modernization of the existing 400 building. The ROTC program that's here now is going to move into the building 400, which you'll see in a few minutes here. And then we're going to replace the ROTC modular buildings with 4 new classrooms. And then this existing cluster here, we're going to go ahead and modernize. And what I mean by modernizing, we're updating the air conditioning, the finishes, and technology. And then the second phase of the project, or what we call increment 2, is the new CTE complex. So as we start to look at this enlarged site plan, here's the existing building 400. We're kind of working around the idea that the existing shop buildings that are now in place, that we can actually keep those operational while we build the new CTE program building, as well as have a new adult transitional program modular building. The site's going to include outdoor amphitheaters, places for outdoor competitions. There's going to be an obstacle course for the ROTC program. We're also looking at refurbishing the outdoor garden for the adult transition program. We're also kind of thinking long-term, some potential planning of a new 2-story classroom building here, just to see if growth happens in the community. So we're kind of master planning it, kind of thinking ahead. Also taking advantage of the site with another outdoor work area for the students, which I'll show you now. Kind of the materials that we're looking at, because it is an industrial ed career tech facility, is utilizing perforated metal panels, using graphics and exterior lighting to really enhance the facility. And interior-wise, really enhancing with graphics, wayfinding, and really kind of making the space a lively environment. So on the existing Building 400 program, the programs that we're going to be housing in here is cybersecurity, video film, ROTC, and there'll be an extra flex classroom for any spillovers that would take place. So as you can kind of see, we're actually going to be reworking some of the interior walls in here, so cybersecurity, and so what you're seeing here, and it's a little hard to see on the screen, but you can see it on the printed copy. The new cybersecurity classroom, it's going to have storage. This is where they're going to be able to build, not only do computer software, but also build network systems and things like that. Video and film, Gio was very, very passionate about this, and so we're making sure that we had plenty of storage for his mobile video camera systems, as well as a working production lab. The ROTC program here is now going to be housed in this building, which includes 2 classrooms that are divided by a curtain wall here. They do airsoft gun training, and that's properly secured here in the armory, which you see here. So we're also kind of looking at floor patterns here that when those programs are in operation, there's clear paths and lines to follow. 2 offices and storage for all of their uniforms and different gear. And of course, we're going to renovate the restrooms in the data here. You start to see we're going to start freshening up the building. The funny story here is that when LHA designed this building in 1996, I actually worked for LHA and drew this building as a job captain. So it's kind of funny. You know you've gone full circle in your career when you start to remodel the buildings you drew. So it's been kind of fun to go through and see it. We're going to clean it up here. We're going to put new windows, doors. We're going to put graphics. We're going to start introducing school colors into the project, both interior and exterior. So in the courtyard, you're going to start to see some of these kind of fun things, as well as have some inspirational graphics on the wall and just kind of start to play in with different programs. See there. And this is what it's going to look like on the outside. Again, here's the outdoor obstacle course, amphitheater, shade structures. And this is the fun one here. This is where auto shop, the engineering and fabrication and design and computers, basically the wood shop, metal shop, and auto shop old programs is the way we're talking about it. Here, we've worked very closely with Dennis and the two Steves, kind of developing the design really carefully. The one thing I will tell you that was exciting for us was the amount of collaboration these three want to do within this building. And so we've actually created a shared CTE lab space as well as collaboration spaces where they can actually do projects together and not just isolated in their different buildings like they are now. And you'll start to see this, it gets really exciting here with the auto shop. There's various bays, one for the introduction and then 2 bays with lifts. They're actually going to have a sound deadening room so they can do the dyno machine in here, outdoor covered area, part storage, an office, an actual general classroom, but also collaboration. You can see where you start brainstorming and doing these different projects together. Fabrication and engineering here will have their own lab. It opens up into the shared CTE lab, as well as have their own printing area here for 3D printers. Again, fabrication, this is the design and architecture side of things. Steve Eaton and I had lots of great conversations about it, but this is where the large project area where you can actually do his tiny house building, both inside and outside, and pull it out. So you can see sliding or roll up doors and so forth here. Again, playing up on school colors and graphics and material and really having a destination in mind here. You can start to see the fun graphics on the wall here. Lips and so forth. Again, you know, I think that's one of the things that we love to do is enhancing an environment, just not painting the walls white or a plain color, is putting these inspirational graphics on the wall, really getting everyone excited about the program, about the idea of being able to cross-collaborate with each other. You can start to see the 3D images of this now is kind of it's simple, but yet it's modern and powerful, and it's a timeless design. Again, outdoor collaboration areas. This is also a place where they can also hold outdoor competitions, which is was an important thing for all the programs. So budget-wise, it's always good to keep everyone up to speed on this. We spent a lot of time working through all this. So right now, the current budget is 15.1. So we've actually went down and we went up and we brought back down again. And so I think we're in a good place right now with that. And so schedule-wise, we are through schematic design now. We're in design development. We're planning on submitting to the state architect's office at the end of this year. So we're moving full steam ahead. We're keeping an eye on the other projects that are going on, like the phase 1 work, and we know how it ties together. And we're working closely with this district staff and the builder out here now, just so that we can understand what's going on and keep that moving forward for everybody. Any questions?
Yes, I did.
That was one of the areas right now from a budget standpoint was a little too expensive to put in. And so right now it's not in the project. But we could look at converting the flex classroom if, you know, the budget wants to be increased.
When do you estimate being completed with this phase?
The design phase or the construction phase?
Construction.
Be about 12 months, so if I go back to the schedule, we'll be looking at having it ready August 2023.
For next school year?
The following school year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, another whole year, okay.
Yeah. Construction, because it is an operating campus, we do have to plan on that. So the idea is for next school year, while the building is being built, the other 3 shop buildings can still stay operational. And then that summer, we would actually go ahead and move all the equipment out, tear the building out, do the site work, and have it ready by August 2023.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the board members? Students, do you have a question? No? Okay.
Very
Anybody?
good. Thank you for the opportunity. We'll
Thank you
keep
for the
going.
presentation.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed the pictures you gave us. This is nice. All right, that brings us to our LCAP presentation with Miss Emily Toon.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Garza Gonzalez, President Summers. As you said, my name is Emily Toon, and I am the Director of Education Services here for the district. And I have a brief presentation for you to outline some of the changes and adjustments that have been made to our local control and accountability plan. As a brief review for anyone who might like this information, the Local Control and Accountability Plan is a tool used by districts to look at data, analyze data, student performance, set goals, plan actions, and then leverage our resources to meet those goals and improve our students' outcomes. So our LCAP, our Local Control Accountability Plan, has 3 goals. You'll see them there on the presentation. Our first goal is to improve the engagement of our students and families. And within goal 1, you'll see that there are a variety of actions and metrics to measure the progress of that goal. Goal 2 is improve college and career readiness outcomes for all of our students. And goal 3 is to make sure all of our students are proficient in our state standards, and that includes the Common Core, Next Generation Science Standards, and our ELD standards. So a quick look backwards before I give you some of the updates about what we're doing. When the pandemic hit, we were scheduled to begin a 3-year LCAP process, and that was put on hold and was replaced by the Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan, which had a variety of different requirements that they wanted to provide to schools to alleviate some of the impact on schools as they navigated the pandemic. And that also included pushing the budget overview for parents to December 15th of 2020. We are now back on track with the Local Control Accountability Plan, and this is the first year of our 3-year cycle. And so we came to the board in May. We did a review with the County Office of Education in May as well. They gave us some preliminary adjustments to make. We brought the LCAP. It was approved by the board in May. We had some adjustments with the budget. We brought it back with the budget, and it was approved again then. And then we submitted it to the county, and the county had some additional clarifications that they wanted to see, which has been revised and updated, and is what I will share with you today. And the County Office of Education, when they look at our plan, they are looking at it through the lens of our stakeholders, and they want to make sure that everything that we have in that plan is transparent and clear and comprehensible for those who are looking at it. And so there are a few things that have been adjusted, and I'm going to break them down for you, and it's quite a lengthy document, and so I'll work my way through it slowly but surely. The first component was the budget overview for parents. And so I don't think there's a laser. Is there a laser pointer? Yeah, right here in this green section where it says $4.9 million. This has been updated. This is the amount of money that we spent in our learning continuity and attendance plan last year for our high needs students. And our high needs students are defined as our unduplicated pupils, our English language learners, our socioeconomically disadvantaged, and our foster youth. And originally this amount was a bit less, There was an action that was not being tagged as supporting those unduplicated pupils, but now that has been calculated in, so that has actually increased. Once you look at the plan, you'll see that it starts with the budget overview for parents. It then looks at the annual update for the 1920 LCAP, and because our 3-year plan was put on hold and replaced by the learning continuity and attendance plan, there's actually an additional component there for the annual update. So looking historically back at the 1920 LCAP, there are some updates, and then we'll move forward to the 2021 Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan. And the acronyms can be a bit confusing. LCAP is our LCAP, LCP is our Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan. And then after those two documents, you'll see the actual LCAP moving forward for the 21-22 school year. So in the annual update, there was some small things that were changed. And so if you actually look at it, there were some estimated expenditures from CTIG, which is one of our grants for our CTE programs. And we didn't have the explanation of the actual expenditures. And so the actual expenditures are there now for $104,000 approximately. And those are the costs for equipment, materials, and supplies. Our initial estimate was based on the allocation of the grant, but we did have some carryover money for that grant. The LCP, the Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan, has two parts. The first is the in-person instructional offering, and on the left you'll see those are our actions, and then the budgeted funds and the actual expenditures. And then on the far right, whether it's contributing to those unduplicated pupils, and you'll hear me refer to the unduplicated pupils quite a bit. It won't be the first or the last time. Our English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and our foster youth. Now, we have actions that are duplicated because what we do for in-person learning and what we did for distance learning, in some of those actions were the same. We still hire our teachers, we still provide bilingual paraprofessionals, etc. So in the distance learning program portion of the plan, you'll see that there are zeros all the way through, and that's because that's a duplicated action, and we wanted to make sure we didn't double count any of our actions that had already been accounted for in our in-person instructional offering, but we wanted to make it transparent that that was something that was still continuing during distance learning. So if it's not zeroed out, it means it was something that was not part of the in-person instructional offerings. Originally, we had the budgeted and actual expenditures that are there on the left of about $25 million in our distance learning program, and it was throwing off our calculations, so those were zeroed out and removed. Moving forward to now the actual LCAP for our 21-22 school year, and the beginning portion of the LCAP is our summary, which details our needs assessment. And our needs assessment is really driven by the dashboard, by our internal data, and by the feedback that we are provided by our stakeholders. And so we had quite a bit of data, our strengths and our needs. However, if there is any priority group that is 2 levels below all of our students, those do need to be accounted for in the plan summary. And so we did have to include our English learners and our students with disabilities. They are referenced because they are both in differentiated assistance with the state and other components of the plan. But we needed to explicitly call them out because our students with disabilities are in the red for the College and Career Readiness Indicator for 2019-20, and our English learners, although not in the red, are in the orange, which is 2 levels below the green where all of our students are located. A few other changes that you'll see in the plan, we have some additional metrics that were included. We have the California Healthy Kids Survey, and we have a metric for connectedness to campus and safety and how our students feel included in Goal 1. In Goal 1, we also have additional verbiage really detailing what we're measuring for parent involvement. There was a metric that was already there, but this is giving us additional information about calculations in regards to how many parents are providing input on surveys, how many of them are actually participating in meetings that are provided by the school. And then last but not least, in Goal 2, there was an additional metric included, and that is our completion rate for our CTE pathways. Moving forward to our actions, none of our actions changed substantially. The amounts are still the same. However, there is additional verbiage and explanation that's been included. And again, coming back to the transparency piece and looking at our unduplicated pupils, what the county did ask us to make abundantly clear is how every action is supporting our unduplicated pupils. And so in Goal 1, there is some additional explanation of how the funding for the Parent Center and our Parent Liaison contributes to our increased and improved services for all of those unduplicated pupils compared to all students, because this is funded by the supplemental concentration money that is garnered by those students. Goal 2, there were no changes, but in Goal 3, there is one revision specific to the systems work that we're doing with our departments through Arenda, and they are establishing a matrix of standards, establishing benchmark assessments, and putting a system in place so that they can analyze student achievement with a particular focus on our English learners and our students with disabilities. So there was some additional explanation needed to explain how that work that we are doing is supporting those particular demographics. And then last but not least, and this is why I say you'll hear me say unduplicated pupils over and over and over, there is an entire section dedicated in our plan for increased and improved services for unduplicated pupils. If there is an action that is funded by supplemental concentration money, and it is a school-wide or an LEA-wide action, we need to be abundantly clear about how that action is supporting those particular demographics. All students can benefit from a school-wide action so long as it's principally targeting English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged youth, and foster youth. And so for any of our school-wide or LEA-wide actions, there's additional verbiage explaining how that particular action is targeting those student groups. And I included there at the bottom right, this is our last, most updated dashboard, our 69.5%, which is the percentage of our students who are socioeconomically disadvantaged in our district, our English learners at 14.6%, and our foster youth at 0.1%. Last but not least, comprehensive support and improvement is a federal program and support for Ivy High School. Our local control and accountability plan requires that we have an explanation of this work. There were some additional revisions because of the pandemic. There were quite a few things that were put in place that continued and did not change greatly, so they needed clarification in regards to how those continued actions are functioning. And so Ivy has a particular focus on attendance, on social emotional well-being, and due to the pandemic, we didn't gather enough, well, we gathered a lot of data, but we didn't feel that we had enough data to truly tell us whether or not those were effective. And so we continue with those same actions this year, monitoring attendance, providing activities and actions that increase social and emotional support for Ivy High School. So there is some revised verbiage around comprehensive support and improvement as well. And that concludes all of the information and the revisions that were made to the plan. It is posted on the district website and is available for anyone to take a look at.
Thank you, Ms. Toon. Wonderful report. Thank you. That brings us to public comments. All right. Please be advised that this agenda item is provided to allow members of the public to make suggestions or identify concerns about matters affecting the district. The Fallbrook Union High School Board of Education encourages and invites the public to comment on agenda or non-agenda items. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Total public input on any one subject will be limited to 20 minutes and may be extended at the discretion of the board president. Comments on non-agenda items will be heard at this time. Comments on an agenda item may be taken at this time or when the agenda item is discussed by the board. Speakers will be called in order by topic and when the card was submitted. The district's silence should not be mistaken for agreement with public comments. Rather, the board remain silent to comply with California law, avoid legal entanglements, and/or to protect the privacy of those involved. Please be assured any serious allegations have been or will be investigated thoroughly. Any response from the board will occur during board member comments. All right, we'll begin.
Carol Osgrove, mask mandates.
My name is Carol Osgrove, and I've been a resident of Fallbrook since 1979. And I'll be talking about my distress over mask mandates in the school. When we were here last month, we shared our concerns and grievances, and you seemingly turned a deaf ear because you didn't even comment at the end about what we felt. One of the most poignant was from a mother that had to help her daughter for over an hour while she was drowning in despair over the masks and loss of her friends. And that's what these mask mandates and social distancing do. So you members of the high school board, you sit way far away from us. I mean, behind your mask, so we can't see your face. We don't know what you're thinking. You're just basically invisible to us. And so while we pour our hearts out to you, and then at the end of last meeting, you announced, kind of coldly, I might add, just the very opposite of what we were desiring to hear from you. You made an announcement that all of it was just basically going to just your way or the highway. And so we pleaded with you an opportunity, and then on top of that, we understand that you voted yourself a $300 raise instead of giving the money to the school. And I mean, this is a wonderful program with the F8A. They need it. The students need it. We heard that last month. You should go to them, not you. So if you have even 1 minute while you're getting away with this little responsible spending joyride, you should be living self-sacrificingly to our students, not cushioning your lives. So we're upset about that, and we want some change. Someone asked about it at the last meeting if you even care about our students. Well, I'm real happy here now to hear, because we heard from the one class, and I mean, it was very gratifying, because being a member of FAA is a tremendous leadership opportunity for these kids, and they turn out to be wonderful citizens. And so, do you know how many moms and dads right now are investigating alternative school, sending their kids to alternative school systems because they don't like what's going on in the public schools? And there's a learning academy right now that is taught by teachers. It's kind of like a collection of homeschooling. And I'm actually going to be asking my son and daughter-in-law. I mean, I'll help send my little 10-year-old granddaughter to that because I want her to get the best. And I don't want her to be drowned behind critical race theory or mask mandates or any of the other things that you're jamming down our throats. And just look at how distressing it is for our students, how distressing it is for us. This should be our decision, whether or not we're going to wear a mask, whether or not we're going to get vaccines. It should be our decision, and don't force it on us or our children, or put those mask mandates out. I mean, to me, that sounds like right out of the communist playbook, because you're saying we're doing it for the greater good.
Okay.
Nonsense.
Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. So I please implore you to please listen to us and not just brush us aside. Thank you.
Ms. Hatcher, do you have the timing ready to go? Thank you.
All right, we'll have the timing going this time so you can see. Sorry. Okay, next person.
Gary L. Fremere. It's hard to read the writing, and I believe it's retired civilians.
Thank you for a chance to address the board here. Yeah, I've been a resident in Fallbrook for 22 years. I'm a retired civil engineer, ex-rifle platoon leader from Vietnam, retired as a captain. What I'm concerned about is I know you have said you're not teaching critical race theory. I believe that's what you told us. However, I do know that you have hired a person to teach what we call restorative justice and unconscious bias training, which sounds an awful lot like critical race theory. So I'm sure you're concerned that there's a lot of parents now have really been awakened to all of this. Some of this has been pretty stealthy, imposed on us and our children. Now we're really alert to what's going on. But I found this list of terms that just astounded me. And I want to read some of these terms that are related to critical race theory so that we'll be, if you guys really don't want to teach this, you should be alert to all of these terms. I'm just going to read a few of them. It won't take me that long. Abolitionist teaching, action civics, anti-racism, anti-bias training, anti-blackness, anti-meritocracy, centering or decentering, collective guilt, colorism, conscious and unconscious bias, critical ethnic studies, critical pedagogy, whatever that is, critical self-awareness, critical self-reflection, cultural appropriation, misappropriation, cultural awareness, cultural competence. There's a big list. Cultural proficiency, cultural relevance, cultural responsive teaching, cultural responsiveness, culturally responsive practices, decentering whiteness, deconstruct knowledges, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. I know that you guys are working on that one. Diversity focus, diversity training, dominant discourses, educational justice, equity examine systems, whatever that is, free radical therapy, yes, free radical self-collective care, identity deconstruction, implicit/explicit bias, inclusivity education, institutional bias, institutional oppression, internalized racial superiority, internalized racism, internalized white supremacy, internalized racism, intersection, intersectionality, intersectional identities, intersectional studies, marginalized identities, marginalized, minoritized,
Mr.
underrepresented
Eicherman,
communities.
you're close to your time. Can you finish your
Oh
sentence?
gosh, I didn't get to read. I've still got 2 pages of this. Okay, my just in final statement is, you know, we really need to not be obsessed with this social engineering, but be more obsessed with trying to equip these kids to compete in our society. STEM, STEM, I know you guys understand that. We've got some real challenges here in Fallbrook. We're underperforming in every way. And then our nation is underperforming compared to our competitors, our international competitors. So I would like to see your focus be on these things and not social engineering. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're just trying to figure out the timing part here, but we're recording it up here. I will give you this to bring a closure to your 3 minutes to remind you. Sorry about that. And Mr. Eicherman, thank you for your service and your report. The next person, please.
Judy Willis, CRT.
On August 11th, I met with the principal.
You want to introduce yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Judy Willis.
Thank you.
I've lived in Fallbrook for 14 years.
Okay, thank you.
I had a meeting with Ms. Jones, the principal of Fallbrook High School, on August 11th. We met for about 45 minutes. I had 20 questions or comments that we discussed. One of my particular specific questions was employment of the school for someone that was to teach unbiased training, et cetera, that Gary just spoke about. And she specifically said she had no knowledge of such a position. There were no positions to be hired except for instructional. So either she is misinformed, or she was not telling me the truth, or something's going on in the school that shouldn't be. We should be told specifically what's going on and not have anyone tell us just to make us shut up. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, please.
Sherry Weishar, trustee reimbursement.
So
I was going to say, please wait until we reset the time. It wasn't.
Sure, happy to.
Thank you.
Now? Okay. Hi, I'm Sherry Weishar. I've lived in Fallbrook for almost 26 years. I have 2 students currently attending Fallbrook High School, and my grandkids soon to follow. Yay. So what prompted my question was the publication of the budget, the proposed budget that's in tonight's meeting. And I noticed that you are projecting an increase in operating expenses of nearly 44% over the previous school year, leading to a known budget deficit of over $500,000 in one school year, which I hope you were all aware of before I told you. Yeah, no, okay. Which leads me to my question. In the most recent board meeting, you voted to start reimbursing yourselves for your services that you provide here. And although we are not entitled, and you certainly have the ability to withhold comment, I believe that you should let us know what you've done with that money. Did you take it? Did you use it for your personal expenses? Because, as you've said, you're on a fixed income, you're doing work, providing for our students. Did you take that money? Did you spend it? Or did you instead reinvest it in the students that you promised to invest in when you ran for this job? I recently found a copy of your campaign flyers and your promise that was included on that, and I wonder if you all remember what it was. Do you? I'd be happy to remind you. You promised to fight for our students, to increase presence in the classroom, which I've seen none of. So, if you care to let us know what you've done with that reimbursement, I'm sure we would all be happy to hear it. And if what you are receiving is not enough, at the next board meeting, I'm happy to bring you each 30 pieces of silver for betraying our students. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And next person, please.
Tom Frew, thanks.
Hello, my name is Tom Frew, Fallbrook resident, and I come here a lot, and every time I do, I'm impressed to see the opportunities that Fallbrook High School presents to the students. Future Farmers of America, MJROTC, computer athletics, and how the kids respond by becoming champions. And so I want to say to the board members, thank you very much for your service. You guys do a good job.
Thank you, Mr. Frew. Anybody else? The next person, we have somebody on there.
Nancy Glasson, thanking board for good decision.
Nancy Hines Glazer. My writing is getting worse by the day.
I apologize.
It's been 8 years since I attended a Board of Ed meeting. I'm really glad to be here. I wanted to start by saying thank you for making a correct decision regarding masking. To give you background, I'm a retired nurse of 40 years, a rehab counselor. I've only been here 8 years, but I feel like it's my town. I've been photographing and learning about it through all the different groups. I lived near a school back east. It was a high school. We had a lot of close living. You guys have a lot of room, good news and bad news for both. Each of the board members there received a $3,800 stipend. And I don't find $300 unnecessarily high unless you never had anything before. I worked at the TV station located in the high school, which was why I was surprised when I saw none here, and now we have one, thank goodness. I'm very excited, but I want to thank you for protecting the students, faculty, programming, and therefore us in the community by this decision. I have found that freedom of speech has been distorted. It's now in the form of flags that are graphic and unmanageable. To me, that's acceptable political free speech. Being safe is no longer good. I'm confused by all of that, but it's the messaging that's really confusing. So I want to thank you for taking a stand that to me is healthy, appropriate, reasonable until we figure out what the heck is going on with this virus. I wanted to say the kids and schools always sell the homes. Here we have a lot of other reasons for people moving nearby the military base, but schools always sell homes well. We don't have kids, never had them. We loved our housing stock. We like the art scene. And it's FFA, which is Future Farmers, not Fallbrook Artists Association. I've embraced all of this, and I want to thank you for holding a banner high for doing the right thing.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Who's next?
Tammy Bartholomew, volunteer hours.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tammy Bartholomew, and I'm on the board of the Angel Society. And for those of you who don't know, we have the Angel Shop in town, where we get wonderful donations from all the people in Fallbrook, and then we sell it, we make money, and we give the money away to Fallbrook. So I just wanted to speak on the high school kids that come in and help us. They were a tremendous help during the pandemic. We had a lot of our volunteers that could not volunteer because of the pandemic. So the kids really stepped up for us, and it was amazing. And last year, even though there was a pandemic, we made $68,000, and we gave away 19 scholarships to students. Those students that came in and volunteered are really important to us. And that's a combined total of $88,000. So I just wanted to say that we really appreciate the fact that you let the kids volunteer down at the shop. And it was just, we couldn't have done it without them this year. And just want to thank all the parents too that let the kids volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next person, please.
Darcy Rouse, volunteer hours. Do you know if she wanted her statement read? To whom it may concern, my name is Darcy Rouse, and I am the volunteer coordinator at the Fallbrook Animal Sanctuary. I am writing to express our gratitude and need for volunteers in our community. The Fallbrook Animal Sanctuary is an all-volunteer, all-private donation 501c3 private sanctuary and adoption center for cats and dogs. Without volunteers, we would not be able to do what we do. FAS was founded in 2002 by Janet Lucour and has been a staple in Fallbrook ever since. We believe that teaching our youth the value and need of volunteer work in their community is extremely important, and it gives them a foundation of community service throughout their lives. Sincerely, Darcy Rouse, Volunteer Coordinator for the Fallbrook Animal Sanctuary. Jason Ewig, Curriculum Issues.
All right, here we go. Hey guys, my name is Jason Ewig. I am a Fallbrook resident. I've been here in this town since '97 for a while. So I'm gonna ramble a little bit. If it sounds a little incoherent and rambling, it's because, you know, I just got off work. I'm still covered in drywall dust. I'm a little, you know, and normally I wouldn't really come to speak out at one of these things, but I think I'm gonna echo what Gary had said there. The whole reason that I'm here tonight is that I'm frustrated in the curriculum. I know you guys aren't, but I'm pretty sure all you guys are parents and you guys have had kids. And I'm sure you guys have stayed up late at night working with your kids on curriculum that you might not understand. And one of the things that got me here this evening was last week I'm working with my daughter, and we were working on a political subject. And the question that was posed is, how do you feel about the Georgia voting rights? And the first thing that went through my head is, how in the heck does a 16-year-old from Southern California have any idea of what's going on over in Georgia, and why does she have an opinion about it? And it was very frustrating, because as I got more in depth with her about the way our politics is set up, I came to understand that there were a lot of foundational issues that were never taught. So when I said it was a curriculum thing, there were foundational issues that weren't taught. I mean, I don't want to really pick on anybody here, but when I said, "Where's Georgia?" the first answer was that Atlanta's the capital. Well, that's great, but where is it? You know, they point to the right side of the map. You know, that's a foundational thing. And we can go on and on and on the foundations. Now, I grew up in Wisconsin, and by the time I was in the 4th and 5th grade, yeah, I knew my states and capitals. I knew, you know, basic arithmetic. I knew English. We did study the finer arts. You know, we studied all the foundational stuff. But there seems to be a real push these days towards, I'm sorry, Gary, whatever you said, it was more of like a political engineering, more, not a genetic engineering, but like it was a social engineering. What happened to the basics? You know, when my kid gets out, you know, we're forming the future leaders of America. We're forming future people here. And when they can't do the basics, I know I got 5 seconds left, but I'm gonna go a little bit over. Bear with me. When we're doing the very basics, I mean, these children should be able to at least know their geography, you know basic things. You know, let's stop with this political engineering, and let's form good people that are going to be productive members of society. And one last thing, and this is not a knock on you guys, but when we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I suggest we have the flag somewhere where we can all see it and not hid off into the left. I know you didn't do it on purpose. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Ed K. Padilla, Community Service Requirement.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you tell us your name again?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Edrei Padilla. I am a recent graduate of Fallbrook High School, class of 2021.
Thank you.
And I came to talk about the community service requirement being altered. So when I heard that the 40-hour community service requirement was either going to be eradicated or, decreased in our requirement, I felt that as a former student and a beneficiary of community service, I had to come and speak on the topic. Now, I've been volunteering at the Angel Thrift Shop for about 3 years now, among other places, and in my time volunteering, I can assert that volunteering is a life-changing experience, especially for young students. And I do not think that we should be, taking that away from students because, like I said, in my time there, in my experience, it has given me so many opportunities. I cannot say enough good things about my time there and everything that I've benefited from. And I know other students who have volunteered here in town and can say the same thing. So I fear that we are forgetting the importance of teaching selflessness. It's a lesson that is found in religions and cultures all over the world, and we cannot just, erase it from what we will consider a well-rounded education, because I believe that teaching selflessness and the value of community is part of a well-rounded education and needs to be present in this district. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that report. Our next person, please.
I have no other speaker cards.
That was it. Okay. All right, that moves us. We have somebody? Oh.
I had signed the sheet in the front. I'm Karen Langer-Baker, and I have been a volunteer all my life, and I really support volunteering. Right now, I am a member of the American Association for University Women, and I have been in charge of our mentoring program since 2012. I started mentoring a high school girl here in 2008, and I've been mentoring ever since. It is the most heartwarming and most valuable thing I can imagine anyone doing, taking a girl and making a difference in her life. We don't do the academics, we do everything else. These girls are in the AVID program, and I want to thank you so much for all the support that you've given to the AVID girls and boys. We only mentor the girls, but that's all right. And I also wanted to thank you for whatever else you're doing to keep these children safe. I interviewed girls for this year's mentoring program. And when I entered in the classroom of the AVID students and sat in the office and came and interviewed one girl at a time, I was shocked and upset, very disappointed to find the number of girls who were not vaccinated. Yes, they were wearing masks, that's good, but I asked them why, and they couldn't tell me. They didn't know. They just didn't know. They didn't read, they didn't see the TVs, they didn't know anything, they hadn't heard anything from their parents. And I wonder if there's something that you can do as a board to educate everyone on the importance of vaccinations. We are in another surge of this virus. And you know, when I grew up, we didn't wear seatbelts, but in the 50s, they were introduced.
Please be respectful. Thank you.
There are so many things that we are required by law to do for our safety and for the safety of others. Seatbelts are one. Right now, it's masks are another. And I'm hoping that you can do everything you can. If you can mandate it, I'm all for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. We have somebody with a hand up. What are we doing about that? Do you know about the cards? Some of you didn't know. You didn't even know about it? Okay. Can we reset the clock for one more 3 minutes? You have three. Well, depending on how many topics we have here.
My name's Rick Shoup. I'm a retired electrical contractor. I've lived in Fallbrook 2 years. The presentation by your architect was very impressive. The schedule that he's calling out for getting things approved is criminally optimistic with all the fires in the state and everything else like that. The state architect's office is going to be absolutely jammed with all sorts of emergency requests. The situation in San Diego County right now is if you're requesting an inspection, they put you on a list and they might get back to you in 6 months. I'm sure our other contractor in the audience here will confirm that. If you want to get the building erected on the schedule that the architect is proposing, he needs to conduct getting things submitted to the state architect's office just as quick as possible so that you can, in fact, come up with something close to the schedule. Because in your particular case, you can't start construction during the middle of the school year. So if there's any kind of significant delay, it's going to cost you a year, which is going to substantially increase the cost of the building for all of us. Thank you.
Okay. I'll allow one more person, but we have a lot of important business to get to. You coming? Okay.
Hello, my name is Heidi Roderick. I have a daughter who currently attends Fallbrook High School. She's in 11th grade. I have a couple of things I'm going to say. I wasn't going to speak, but first I'd like to say, why are teachers asking our students for their medical information? That's not okay. I'm not okay with that. I understand there's a whole lot of fear porn on the news.
Excuse me, this isn't supposed to be a debate or rebuttal.
I'm making comments. You allowed me to come up here. I'd like to finish.
Okay, but
I understand there's a whole lot of fear porn on the radios and the news, but there is no rise. In fact, today, I heard the count in San Diego went down from well over 900 to just a little over 700. I don't know where you're getting your information, but the idea that teachers can be asking our kids for their personal medical information is not okay.
okay. Okay. All right. Let's get on with the business of the agenda now. So we have a report from our student board representatives. This is their first night here, and they wanted to tell us about themselves and why they're serving on the board. Which one of you wants to go first? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Savannah Hometh. I'm 16. I'm a junior in Oasis High School. I have plans to graduate early, so you may be calling me a senior this year. I play competitive tennis outside of school. I'm not part of the tennis team at Fallbrook High School. Today I'll be representing both Oasis and Ivy High School over the next few months. For those who are unaware, Oasis High School is an independent study program. Students meet with their teachers once a week to ensure they are on track, but the learning is left up to the students. Of course, teachers welcome any questions students may have. Many of Oasis and Ivy's activities are held at Fallbrook High School. Students are allowed to sign up for any sports, clubs, or academic teams at Fallbrook High School. However, I will be announcing a few things that Oasis and Ivy are able to partake in. Today will be the second day of this school year where there will be virtual college fairs available to students. Some families may not have the opportunity to travel outside of state in order to visit other schools. Some may also be afraid of COVID-19 and would prefer to visit schools virtually. Next week, all students will be allowed to take the Asvab test. This allows students the opportunity to explore the career that was recommended to them and to possibly find an interest in that specific career. Some students may not have a specific job or interest in mind, and some may have an interest in being in the military. Regardless, the Asvab test will help these students achieve those goals. Over the last few days, it has been required that any indoor sports will require face masks per CIF standards. This last Friday, Fallbrook won in a game against Classical Academy High School, 37-0. If you are not able to support any of our sports teams in person, you may be able to watch through live stream or YouTube even after the game has ended. Oasis High School is now following a more traditional path, in that students must take 5 or 6 classes at a time. Before, students were allowed to take 2 or 3 classes at a time, accomplishing them sooner and moving on to the next 2 or 3. With this new protocol, it will make any transition to a traditional school much easier, and that they would be on track for the curriculum. I'm very excited to be representing Oasis and Ivy over the next few months. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Damon Gallegos, and it is an extreme pleasure to get to be with all of you tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I am currently a senior here at Fallbrook High School. I'm involved in the Fallbrook FFA as our current chapter president, a member of our parliamentary procedure team, our floral team, and also a lamb and swine exhibitor. In addition to that, I also participate in our school newspaper as the editor-in-chief and our Fallbrook High School Madrigals Choir. Now, I've always been interested in student government, and although this is not a student government, I am still very interested in being a part of it. In terms of Fallbrook High, we have been having a very great year so far. Our school spirit is amazing, as you can tell by our football games. We also had a very successful blood drive this past week. Currently, we are preparing for the Asvab test as well as our homecoming. I would also like to give a quick shout out to Miss Gardner, who, although taking on her roles as our new vice principal, has still been doing an amazing job taking care of our ASB program. I am excited to work with you all throughout the next year, and I wish you all a pleasant evening. Thank you.
Really nice to have you both aboard. That brings us to our board members. I'll go through our list. Mr. Caralampio, do you have anything to report tonight?
Yeah, just speaking about volunteering, I am a Little League soccer coach on Saturdays at Ingold, and it's really great to see a lot of our students, or some of our students, coach as well. So just piggyback on the conversation of volunteering. Yeah, it's really great to see students out there and helping out the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jones is not with us tonight. That brings us to Ilana Sterling. Do you have a report?
Nothing really to report. I just wanted to welcome both our student participants, and we're really glad to have both of you. Thank you.
All right. I'd just like to say something about volunteering. I know that's an important program that we've had traditionally for years. And last year with the pandemic, it was really hard to expect the kids to go out. And we're working on a certificate program that when the kids do so many hours, that they get like a specific thing on their graduation diploma, which is going to be nice. We just haven't presented our details to you about that yet. So with that being said, I'll ask Ms. Tabish. Oh, and I've been to the football games, and wow, the kids are so happy. And up above we have wash stations, so we have temporary restrooms now because we're under construction, but we have temporary places for the kids to wash their hands and everything. And the snack shacks were open, and I just observed so many happy kids and having a great time. So go Warriors. That brings us to Ms. Tabish.
I just wanted to also welcome the students. Thank you for serving for our board. That's really wonderful. And I'm also on the Fallbrook Trails Council, and there's always opportunities for volunteering positions there. I know we've had students in the past that have come down to our Clean Up the Trails days and things like that. So that would be awesome if we could continue to have some of the students participating there, especially as we get a little bit safer and it's outside and in open air. So it's a good voluntary opportunity. Thank you.
All right, that brings us to our agenda. No, it doesn't. We have a couple more things on the list here. We have two principals, and so we're going to have, how about Mr. Gray first?
Good evening. It's good to be here. I think, Savannah, you're going to do great. Damon, you too. But Savannah, on behalf of Oasis, thank you for being here tonight. Hey, it's been a great start of the year for us at Ivy and Oasis. We got about 100 kids up at Ivy and 63 kids down at Oasis. I just wanted to talk about some of the things that we're implementing at both schools. Up at Ivy, we are getting our assets program again going. Some of the programs we're doing there are learning strategies, which is giving an even before school and an after school opportunity for our students to recover credit. Kid Fit will also be running our sports programs, which is soccer, and if we can get enough kids for a basketball team, we'll do that, plus some other fitness activities for our students after school. We have what we call Cooking with Keener. Mr. Keener loves cooking. He meets with the kids about once a week. They cook a meal, have a great time together. We had probably the most of any of them this week. We had about 20 of our students that were involved in that program. We also give students who are learning to drive, not behind the wheel, but we have a driver's ed course that they can take online to give them a few opportunities as well. We're going to be starting up a guitar class for our students, a little music program, and having the big wave right now is EA Sports. And we're going to try and put a program together where we will compete against other continuation high schools, which would be really great. This Friday, we are starting our Women Wonder Writers program and our Boys to Men program. Mr. Cruz, our social worker, is trying diligently to get a Why Try program twice a week up and going with our young men and our young women. He has really been a blessing on our campus. He has had some very in-depth conversations with many of our students already so far this year. Has guided them to some programs in our community that will support our students and their families. And he has made some wonderful headway. He's very visible with our students. He's out and about. Mr. Miramontes is great. He's out there at lunch talking to them about school life, all those types of things. So really, really grateful for them, and our teachers are fantastic. Under the guidance of Miss Gabriel, we're thankful for her that we are working on a CTE pathway between web design and photography, and we're very, very excited about that. Even a small school as we have, we're hoping that we can get that off the ground. Oasis, what a wonderful place with wonderful, wonderful students. Most of our students are still learning from home and doing a great job. We have very few that come in and meet one-on-one, but they are doing fantastic. And those kids are taking AP classes over at Fallbrook, even on our campus as well. They're involved in athletics, clubs, ROTC, and they're just fantastic. So I always consider myself very blessed to be involved in these two high schools, and it's a real pleasure to work with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Here's Miss Jones, our new principal for the high school. And thank you, Mr. Gray. You do a great job over there. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Good evening. Just a few things to share. I know Damon shared a little bit too of things that are going on at Fallbrook High School that are exciting. Our students and our staff over the last month have been excited to return to live in-person instruction, be on campus together. I think you can see that in what's going on in classes and when you see it on the students' faces when we see them out on campus. We are excited to be offering IB courses for the first time this year. Our junior class has access to those. We also have one of the largest groups accessing our AP capstone program that we've had since we started that program on campus. That's our AP research pathway that students can participate in. We have robust athletics and our extracurricular programs happening. We mentioned the football games. We've had some fantastic attendance there. We've also had great attendance at a lot of our other sporting events that are going on campus. We had Club Rush last Friday, where we opened up and had clubs kind of advertise to students and take signups so kids can figure out just another way to connect and plug in on campus. Coming up in October, we have homecoming week. I know that was mentioned as well, so it's exciting for students to be able to participate in that again. On October 13th, we are offering the PSAT to all juniors with the option for sophomores to sign up as well. A few other things kind of going on in and around campus. Mr. Gray mentioned as well, we have Warrior Way, or the Assets program, up and running. We have several classes available after school, including tutoring, extracurricular types of activities. We have a group called Positive People, where they're going around and kind of spreading positive messages to students on campus. So a lot of great things for students to be involved with. Actually happening tonight, I don't know if it's still happening or if it's concluded at this point, but we have Mano a Mano workshops happening through our Parent Welcome Center. Guest speaker tonight had about 30 participants attend, which is an awesome number. That's Erica Alfaro, who was our guest speaker. So just a lot of things. That's continuing on for several weeks with parent workshops and variety of speakers and topics. Yeah, so we're excited about what we have available to kids and to students and staff, and look forward to October being an exciting month for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. We're real excited to have you as well. So that brings us to report from our superintendent, Mrs. Garza Gonzalez.
Okay. So you heard all about phase 2 of construction, but phase 1 of construction at Fallbrook High School is continuing, and it's expected to be completed by the end of November. So we are excited about that. Different areas of the campus will open up prior, but by the end of November, everything should be completed. Unfortunately, there is a new TikTok challenge out there where students are challenged to take something from a school and post it on campus. I posted on TikTok. So Our new restrooms have been vandalized. Kids will take the hand dryer, a mirror, whatever they can, take a picture with it. They usually leave things in the bathroom, but that is limiting access to the restrooms because now we have repairs to be completed on construction that hasn't even cleared yet. The start of the school year has not been without its challenges. We are definitely not back to normal, and when people say we're back to normal, I cringe because we are not back to normal, at least not back to the way things were. We're stretched thin personnel-wise, and we're grateful for the teachers that willingly give up their prep time to cover vacancies. There are days when even those of us that are here are in classrooms, which is nice because I know I haven't been teaching in a classroom for a while, so it's nice to go back in and follow a lesson plan and work with students directly. But it is challenging. So even though we have offered a competitive substitute rate in the past, we are asking the board to extend that this year. But all districts are facing similar challenges. COVID contact tracing is also another big strain on both our health office and on administrators. We follow the COVID quarantine decision tree that is given to us by the county, and it seems that every time that we have it down pat, they change it. So we keep up to date on that, but we are looking at hiring 2 contact tracers so that our health office personnel can actually tend to what they need to do in the health office. And we're also seeking providers for the weekly COVID testing that's going to be required beginning October 15th of all unvaccinated employees. Teaching staff have also expressed the challenges that comes with teaching with masks on all day. And we have voice amplifiers available that we'll be rolling out, and we are purchasing additional voice amplifiers for those who wish to use them. And I know that they've left, but I want to congratulate all of the students that were present today on their accomplishments, and again, welcome and congratulate Savannah and Damon. Thank you.
All right, so that brings us to our agenda items, and the first one is information, updating the COVID-19 safety plan. So will you include anything that's new for us?
Yes, so the COVID-19 safety plan was required by CDPH to be posted on the district website as part of AB 86, the COVID-19 relief and school reopening reporting and public health requirements. So we did post the plan on our website by April 1st, 2021, but since then the guidelines have changed. So we had to update the safety plan to reflect current guidelines. The only real guideline that is mandated is the mask mandate. So that was included in the new COVID-19 safety plan, and then although we are still encouraging social distancing and the frequent hand washing, they are not mandated, so we changed wording in the safety plan to include that, as well as including the upcoming mandate that begins on October 15th, where unvaccinated employees will have to be tested for COVID on a weekly basis.
All right. So moving forward, we're going to go to our first action item, which is an amendment to the superintendent's contract. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the board approve the amendment to the employee contract for the superintendent that was approved in August 9th, 2021, closed session as presented.
I second.
So that's, for the record, that's Tabish and Caralampio. Do I have any questions or concerns from the board members? All right, moving forward then, we will go ahead and vote on this. We'll start out with Mr. Gallegos.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Homuth?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Caralampio?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sterling? Aye. Thank you. Ms. Summers says aye, and Ms. Tavish?
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0 with Mr. Jones being absent tonight. So that brings us to our action item, that is revision, deletions to board policies, administrative regulations, and exhibits. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the revisions and deletions to board policies, administrative regulation, and exhibits are being presented as an action item for a second reading and will return as an action item at the next board meeting.
A second.
I just want to make a correction.
Yeah.
It will not return as an action item at the next board meeting. It just ends at item for a second reading, since we're approving today, or not approving today.
Okay. All right, that's clear. So it is going to be a vote tonight. And so may I have a motion, please? Oh, that's right. Okay, and a second on that? Okay, we're good. Then we're going to go ahead with the vote. That would be Mr. Gallegos.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Helmuth?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Caralampio?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sterling?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Jones says, Ms. Summers says aye. I say aye. And Ms. Tavish?
Aye.
That one passes 4-0 with Mr. Jones being absent. That brings us to action item number 4, temporary increase in compensation for certified in-person substitutes due to COVID-19. May I have a motion, please?
I move the board approve the temporary increase in the compensation for certified in-person substitutes due to COVID-19 as presented.
I second.
All right, for the record, that's Tavish and Sterling. Any questions or concerns from board members? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. We'll start out with Mr. Gallegos.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Helmuth?
Aye.
Thank you. That brings us to Mr. Caralampio.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sterling?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Summers says aye, and Ms. Tavish?
Aye.
All right, that action item passes 4-0. We'll go to action item number 5 now, temporary COVID contract tracer job description. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the board approve the temporary COVID contract tracer job description as presented.
I second.
Okay, so that's Tavish and Caralampio for the first and second. For the record, and do we have any concerns or questions from the members? All right, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Gallegos, you're first.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Helmuth?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Caralampio?
Aye.
Thanks. Ms. Sterling?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Summers says aye, and Ms. Tavish?
Aye.
Okay, so that brings us action item number 5 passed 5-0. That brings us to action item number 6, 4-0. It's 4-0. Action item number 6, memorandum of understanding, which we call an MOU with Fallbrook High School Teachers Association, FHSTA. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the board approve the MOU between the Fallbrook High School Teachers Association and the Fallbrook Union High School District regarding Ivy High School's preparation period and the assets program as presented.
I second.
All right, so that's, okay, on that one, it would be Tavish and Sterling for the first and second. And any questions or concerns on this one?
I just wanted to find out how many teachers are going to be participating in the assets program at Ivy?
They all participate on any given day because it's sometimes they will do the 4 days a week, sometimes they do the 2 days a week. The issue is that with the teacher's schedule, they are released at 3 o'clock and then can do assets after that time. but Ivy students are released at 1 o'clock and have to wait for transportation. So what the MOU does is that the teachers will teach from 1 o'clock to, or actually from 2 o'clock until the end of the day because they have their lunchtime. And then their prep period will extend till 4 o'clock so that the work that they're doing for assets is separate from the work that they're doing for the high school.
Okay? All right. Anybody else? All right, hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. Mr. Gallegos?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Homuth?
Aye.
Thank you. Board members, Mr. Carlampio?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Jones is not here. Ms. Sterling?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Summers says aye. Ms. Tabish?
Aye.
Action item number 6 passes 4-0. That brings us to our business services. The first action item on this is resolution number 022122, appropriations limit GAN. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the board approve the resolution 02-2122, appropriations limit, the GAM limit as presented.
A second.
All right, so that's Tabish and Sterling. Can we have a little bit of an explanation about this from our superintendent?
It actually will be from Ms. Mefford, our CBO.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes, the GAN limit was passed in 1979 with Prop 4. It's intended to constrain the growth in state and local government spending by linking year-to-year changes in expenditures with the changes in inflation. It is required by the state to be the resolution needs to be board approved and submitted by September 15th. And the calculation is basically multiplying the prior year limit by the percentage change in ADA and per capita personal income. In our SACS state software, it's automatic. I have to just plug in what we paid out in state unemployment insurance, and everything else is an automatic calculation, and it formulates what our GAN limit is. Our preliminary GAN limit for the 2021 year, which we are closing, is $18.2 million.
All right, thank you. With that being said, do we have any questions for her? No? All right, so let's go ahead and I'll call for the vote. Mr. Gallegos?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sterling? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get my other students, sorry. Ms. Homuth?
Yes, aye.
There you go, thank you. Sorry about that. Ms. Sterling now?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Summers says aye. Ms. Tabish?
Aye.
So that brings Carlampio. Boy, I'm so sorry. Gotcha. Go
Aye.
ahead. Aye? Okay. I'm sorry. That brings us to 4-0, passing for action item number 7. This is our last action item, number 8, unaudited actuals financial report. So we're going to need to have, go ahead, Ms. Medford.
Yes, the unaudited actuals are the final revenue and expenditure calculations for the 2021 school year. They are the actuals as of June 30th, 2021. So at second interim, when I was here, and it was the budget, and those were the budgeted items as of January 31st. So I'm going to compare what we had budgeted to how we actually ended the year. Revenues, we ended with $33,170,235, which was $319,000 more than we had budgeted at the end of January. Expenditures, we ended with $31.3 million, which was $1.6 million less than we had budgeted. The main reason for that is because we were closed due to the pandemic, so we did not have the transportation expenditures, nor did we have the utilities. Those were the two main expenditures that we did not have. So we had originally projected we were going to be deficit spending by a little less than $200,000, but we actually ended up with a surplus of $1.6 million. And so there's just our breakdown of our beginning balance, our ending fund balance. So at the end of 2021, we end with an unappropriated fund balance of $3.7 million. That's minus our 6% reserves, any assignments, that takes out the restricted money. So that's basically what we have left, and that amount will carry us over to start the 21-22 budget. So we also have our Fund 13. That is our Cafeteria Special Revenue Fund. That is, it started with $624,000. Because of the change in the waiver and feeding the community, we received $5.7 million in revenues, and we spent $3.2 million. So that leaves us an unappropriated fund balance of $3.1 million in Fund 13. We also have Fund 17, which is our special reserve fund, and it's the money that we put aside when our impact aid we received more than we anticipated, and we keep that money there we have the construction programs going on, and as you said, budgets keep going up, and we want to make sure we have something because there's owner contingency, and when we run out of that, we're going to have to come up with some of our own money. So we keep the Fund 17 Special Reserve Fund there, and it gained $4,000 in revenue in the 2021 school year. So it ends with a balance of $414,000. Fund 21 Building Fund, that's our bond funds, and that starts with $17.4 million. Revenues were $162,000. So far in 2021, we spent $3 million. So we end the year with $14.5 million left in bond funds. Fund 25, that's our developer fee fund. And we started with $2.9 million. We have taken in $151,000 from local developers this year. And we've only spent $32,366. And we ended up with $3 million. And that's Fund 25. Those are all of our main funds that the district has. Any questions?
You know, I do have one question, and that was, it's come up from the band that they needed instruments and so forth. How is that coming along?
So we are working with the band director, Mr. Lee. He gave us an inventory of his current instruments, and we are comparing that to the number of students in class to see which instruments can be repaired and which ones need to be replaced, and how many additional instruments we need if his numbers have indeed gone up.
Is there a timeline for that to be, like the purchase, the repairs, and the replacements to be complete?
He gave us the inventory, and like I said, we're comparing that to the names. Then we'll go back to him to see what the costs are of replacing some of the instruments and purchasing new ones. There are some instruments that students haven't returned, and we're just making sure, are we collecting the funds for those? Are students making payments? Or, what are the actual needs based on that inventory list that he provided?
So about how much longer will it be before the kids get the instruments they need?
I don't know how much longer until they get the instruments because you have to order them, etc. But we should finish with the comparison of actual students in class to his inventory list probably by the next board meeting.
That's good. I like to hear that. So, well, we're coming along with that one. So, we need to have a vote for, actual, we had the explanation. Did I ask for the first and second for 8? Not yet, I didn't write it down. Okay, so I'll need to have a motion for action item number 8.
I move that the board approve the 2021-2022 unaudited actual financial reports as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, so that was a first and second by Carl Lumpio and seconded by Ms. Tabish, and that, so we did make some comments and understanding clarification on that already. Does anybody have any concerns?
Ms. Summers, there's a clarification actually.
Yeah, the unaudited actuals were for the 2020-2021 school year, the year that we just closed, that fiscal year.
Oh, okay, so we need to change the date on that?
Yeah, it's written on the agenda incorrectly. It's 2020-2021.
Okay, got it. 2020 and 2021. Okay. All right, so that noted, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. Mr. Gallegos?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Homuth?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Carlampio?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sterling?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Summers says aye. Ms. Tavish?
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to number 8 has been voted on 4-0. All right, now we're hitting about the last thing on here, which is we call the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the Board of Trustees to be routine and will be enacted by one action. There is usually no discussion of these items prior to the time of the Board of Trustees votes on the action list. Members of the board request specific items to be discussed or deleted from the consent agenda. So do we have any concerns tonight?
Yeah, I have a concern about the amendment of the 2020-2023 CAP Palomar Agreement.
Which one is that?
Action item 13.
13. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to know, will the number of Palomar classes be increasing, and will that jeopardize the number of teachers that we have? If we offer more classes or extend the contract in Palomar, would that mean that the teachers' positions or will be limited or reduced?
No, this is an opportunity for our students to take dual enrollment courses here on campus. They're not all able to go to Palomar or Miracosta to take courses. I know that the Teachers Association is very much concerned about the Palomar courses that we offer and the fact that it might take away from their enrollment, but it is not, and it is a wonderful enrichment opportunity for our students, and that should come first.
All right, I was wondering about that one myself. Thank you for bringing it up. Anybody else? We're good? Over here? Any more concerns? Ms. Tavish? Nope, okay. So that brings us to a vote for the consent. I'll need to have a motion, please.
I move that the board approve as presented the consent agenda.
I second.
Okay, for the record, that's Tabish for the first and Sterling for the second. And with no other further concerns, we can go ahead and vote for this. Mr. Gallegos?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Homuth?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Carlampio?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sterling?
Aye.
Ms. Summers says aye. And Ms. Tavish?
Aye.
So the consent agenda has passed 4-0. So we just do our closing at this time. Here's the thing tonight, because we couldn't get somebody to come to our earlier meeting concerning litigation. So we're going to close for now. We're going to go into our closed session with our attorney, and we will come back to verbally give a report for the record how that went, and any organizational matters will be done at that time as well. So thank you to everybody for coming tonight.
Madam
you have
President,
something
if
else?
you could read the agenda as it is, because we do have to put the
Oh,
information
yeah,
on
we
the
have
record.
to read that part. Just a second, people. It's required. So, conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, government code section 54956.9D1, claim number 20-05478. All right. That's it? We good? Okay, we're good. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, for the record, we are reconvening from our closed session. Report from conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9D1, claim number 20-05478. We have nothing to report. For organizational matters, this is the appropriate place in the agenda for members of the board to request the superintendent provide further information regarding discussion at this meeting or request that new items of business be placed on future agendas. Okay. What I was concerned about was the house lights, and I'm just going to make a report to Drew here that this helped a lot. It was, yes, and Tony, thank you. It is much better for me. I mean, I was the one that was really frustrated, but it is better. And having people up here instead of back there, a little more lights in the back, it was so much better. So thank you, thank you. And anybody else want to say anything? Either of you ladies?
I guess I should formally request to have a meeting on the phase 2 of our bond.
Thank you. All right. The date and time of our next meeting of the Board of Trustees will be September 27th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. in the Bob Burton Performing Arts Center at Fallbrook High School. There be no further business to come before the board. The regular meeting of September 13th, 2021 was adjourned at 22 after 8 p.m. by Diane Summers, the board president. Good night.